Hi, I'm Yvonne from Pree Designs Paper Crafting. Today is week 4 of my One Bundle 4 Ways series of videos. This is showcasing the Relaxing Waterside bundle, which is found in the Waterside Retreat suite of products. So today is card number 4. I'll show you the other 3 cards as well. So let's get started. So the bundle and suite are in from our current May to August catalogue, and they are found on pages 20 and 21. Just to give you a little recap, the papers are stunning. This is how I like to display my papers. I like to put the colours that are in the papers and just a little snippet of each of them. This piece here is the layout that gives you lots of like card fronts. You can cut these up. This is what I'm going to be using in today's card, so I've already cut some of it up, but just to give you a little idea of what's in the papers. And then of course we have our gorgeous stamp set and our die set, which coordinates. These pieces cut out your cardstock. They don't have matching stamps, and you've got 2 different backs to the deck chair. The cards that I've already shown you, card number 1 was this little one, which was a triple flap card. Great little design, perfect for any occasion. Card number 2 was showcasing the papers, just laying them out in a pattern and then putting a couple of the dies. And then card number 3 was super simple, super quick, showcasing a couple of the papers and a little bit of fussy cutting. So card number 4, I'll move these ones out of the way. Card number 4 is this one, which is called an Eclipse Technique or Double Vision Scene Technique. It just depends what you like to call it. I've only ever done a Eclipse Technique using stamps and then alphabet dies, but this is just a little bit of a different take on it. So I'll show you how to make this one. The main pieces in the card we're going to use today is this panel that was from the Designer Series paper, and I've trimmed it down to 9.8 by 14.1. That's just so that it fits nicely onto my mat, which is Pecan Pie, and that's 10.1 by 14.4. That's going to sit on there. And then my card base is a thick basic white. Now I've done unusual measurements just because I wanted to get as much of the Designer Series paper on the card as possible and still have a little bit of the matte behind and a little bit of the white card base behind. So to start off with, we're going to bring in our Everyday Archers dies, and I've started off with the smallest die. Just put those back in place. You've got a little bit of reflection from my overhead light, but that's it there. So I've started off with the smallest die, then I've skipped one, then I've done the next one, skipped one, the next one, skipped one, and the next one. I did look at going a little bit bigger, but it doesn't add to the card. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just hold these in place with a little bit of washi tape, and then I'm going to run those through the cut and emboss machine. So I'm just going to lay them down, pop them in place. I'm going to start with my outside edge one first. I think that's a pretty good place to start. And I'm using a little bit of washi tape that I've already used, so it's a little bit de-tacked or not as tacky as it would normally be. So I'm just looking over the top to make sure I've got those pretty straight. Get another little piece of washi and a final piece of washi tape. Oops, I've got them stuck onto my coffee cup, so coffee cup not with coffee in it, with all my pens and goodies in it. All right, so I'm going to put that through the cut and emboss machine first off. All right, so that's all of my cutting done. You can see my plate is very, very loved. To get the best use out of your plates, you should always change the spot that you put your dies in when you're cutting them. That'll give you, and turn your plate upside down, around and around. That will give you the best use of your plates, and they will last the longest and keep them as flat as possible. All right, so I'm just taking off my washi tape. You can see why I used de-tacked washi tape or already used washi tape. Then I'm going to take off all of my dies. And because I missed one of the dies in between each that I use, so I've used 4, but I skipped some of the ones in between, it's given me a nice depth to my frame. So now, putting those sort of back in order, I want to leave my smallest one intact, so I'm going to leave that plain. I'm going to pick up my next one, leave the third one intact, and pick up my largest one. And then I'm going to put them through the Stone and Vine embossing folder because I want to make these a little bit more of a feature. So now I'm going to go away and I'm going to pop that through the cut and emboss machine and emboss those. Right, so I've got my pieces embossed now, and I'm just going to take those out, and I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to start layering up my card, bringing my card matte back in, and I'm going to flat glue my largest frame. So just with our Tombow glue, a little bit of glue around the edge. I'm going to put a little bit around the archway as well because I want to make sure that sits nicely on my mat. And I'm just sort of trying to hover that until I make sure that I've got the matte border that I want, and then place that down. Then this is going to be my next piece that I put in, but I want that to raise that. So I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to pop on some mini dimensionals. Just move this along so you can see more easily. Just realised I haven't turned my filming light on, so bear with me for a moment. That might just make that a little bit brighter. And just put a series of mini dimensionals around the frame. You can see that missing one of the dies in between also gives me a really nice frame to easily put my little mini dimensionals on. Take all my papers off. Now, when I was doing this with lots and lots of die cuts, because I did a scene, I'll show you that card when I finish this one, I actually used the Press and Seal, which is a Glad product. You can only buy it here in Australia from selected scrapbooking shops. It's not a Stampin' Up product. If you're up in the northern suburbs of Perth, for the love of scrap, have that. Or you can buy it online, or you can buy it in other countries. So I'm now just placing that back in place, trying to make sure that everything matches nicely. I don't think I took a paper off the top one. No, I didn't. Oopsie. All right, so everything matches nicely and it fits into place beautifully. All right, so that's that one. Then I'm going to place the next one in, and I want to flat glue this. So again, with my Tombow glue, some glue on the back of the frame all the way around, and place that back into place. Again, just making sure that that all fits in nicely. Just sliding it across. Okay, that looks pretty good. You can see a little bit more of the brown or the pecan pie just underneath, so I'm just going to make sure that that's pushed in a little bit more. Okay, so that's your flat one. So we've got flat, raised, flat, and then the next one will be raised, again with the mini dimensionals. Those ones didn't come off. So I'll put that back into place. It's a little bit hard with the camera overhead because I can't quite see from the very, very top, but that looks pretty good. And then the final one is going to be flat glued. Now for this one, I'm actually going to put the glue on the base and then just slide that in through the space and make sure it sits nice and flat. So that is the effect that you've got. So you've got one of your pieces flat. Then raised, I'm just going to go in with my bone scorer and make sure my little corners are nicely tucked down. And then the next one is raised, and then the final one is flat glued. That's it, not hard at all. Then to finish off the card, I want to add some Peaceful Pine ribbon. Some ingenious person came up with this online to hold your ribbons in place. Absolutely fabulous. I've done it for all my ribbons. It was not me that came up with that idea, but I absolutely love it. So just tying a simple knot. I just want this as a little bit of detail. Nothing fancy. I don't want a bow because I want this, not that men can't have bows, but I just want it a little bit more masculine. So I am simply tying a simple knot. And then cut off the excess, cut it off on an angle, just because that's what I like to do. Play with it to get it just in the right space. And then I'm going to dimensional that onto my card base. So I'm going to dimensional that onto my card base with the larger dimensionals. I can slide that around a little bit. This, again, is not a hard card to do. I've chosen the easy one to show on screen with the arches simply because I only did 4 cutouts. If you can do it with your trimmer and just do straight cuts, which is the card I'm going to show you as well that I've done. I just wanted to do something a little bit different than I've seen online. I have not seen anyone else use the arches. But, of course, you can use any product that you've got. It doesn't have to be... any product, any sort of nested dies that you've got. It doesn't have to be the arches. It would be great with circles. It'd be great with squares. Absolutely anything. Just going to cut that off because I'm not happy with that. And I'm not doing a very good job because I'm on camera. And cut that on a better angle. Okay, then I'm going to add a couple of the dew drops. Just a couple of the clear ones just to add a little bit of interest. I like to use my take my pick tool to pick up any of the embellishments. It just makes it much, much easier to get there. Take your pick tool underneath the glue dot that's holding the embellishment in place and then pop it wherever you want it to go. Nice and simple, nice and easy. And then the final thing I need to do is add a little greeting. So the greeting I've chosen is just "Today is your day" out of the stamp set. I've already popped it on a block to make it nice and easy. And I'm just going to stamp it on a nice little thin piece of card. I like to keep my little leftovers that I cut off the edges of my mats or pieces because you can always use them for something. Cut in a little bit of an angle, a couple of ways. And then again, put that on with a couple of mini dimensionals. Actually, I'm going to put it on the card because then I know exactly where it's going to sit because I don't know if that was on screen, sorry. I put the dimensionals onto the card base because then I know where my tag is or my greeting is going to actually sit. If I put it on the back there, I might have had that on the high part, which then would have made it sit up too high. The other thing I like to do is add and insert an envelope, and I've chosen the little reed stamp out of the kit, and I've also put a little bit of the leftover designer series paper that I cut off on the side here. So I'm just going to stamp the reeds a couple of times. I always like to stamp. And again, I didn't see if I was on screen, sorry. I always just like to stamp on the back of the envelope as well. And then that's my matching envelope, and then pop the insert inside the card. So as I said, super, super easy way of doing this with the arches. The paper is absolutely stunning. And if you're a little bit stuck what to do with all those scenes on the paper, then this is perfect. So that's my card. This is another one that I did. As I said, you could do them in strips. I've made this a little bit fancier. I've got a different background. I've used the postage dies. And you can see here I used a different embossing folder. And I just cut these pieces in 1 centimetre increments. I did use the press and seal to hold this in place, to hold it more easily, because I had lots and lots of little different pieces, whereas this one was a little bit easier to do. Okay, so going back to the cards that I've done, so this was card number 4 of my one bundle 4 ways, card number 3, card number 2, and card number 1. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I created using this bundle. Stay tuned for next week to see which bundle I use for next month's one bundle 4 ways. Thank you very much.